So I was checking my Medium feed today, and I just noticed something different. The thing that I noticed was that there was just a lot of different writers popping up onto the platform. Writers I'd never heard of before. Writers who were getting into these different Medium publications, but a lot of them were new. A lot of them were intermediate. A lot of different faces that I haven't seen, or names that I haven't seen over the past years. They're just popping up. And I've just been thinking about Medium and its trajectory, and what's going on with the views on Medium, what's going on with people's earnings on Medium. There's different fluctuations, things like that. And I've come to the realization that there are just a lot more writers on Medium than there used to be. I remember reading an article from Ev Williams where he talked about the fact that I think year over year, the number of writers on Medium doubled. So there is more competition. So if you want to be successful on Medium in 2021 and beyond, you are going to have to stand out from the crowd. So in this video, I'm going to give you some tips to help you stand out on Medium and break through that wall of competition so that you can get more money, so that you can get more views, so that you can use that audience to build an overall business that's going to help you fuel your writing career. So I'm going to give you some tips to teach you how to stand out. But before we get to that, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that little notification bell because that means you're going to get brand new videos the moment they come out. That notification bell is very important so I can continue to share videos that are going to help you along in your blogging journey. Okay, tip number one, you want to create, and this is going to take you time. But you want to create a writing voice where when people read the article, they know it's coming from you. So a lot of people will read my articles and they'll tell me that they can read the article and they'll know that it's coming from me because there are certain patterns in the way that I write, certain little idiosyncrasies that I've built along the way, and a writing voice that is unique. And the way that you build a unique writing voice is through a combination of things. One, you can consider the source material that you put into your brain. I read a lot of different material. I read widely from various sources. So if you're a writer, you want to be always reading, and you don't necessarily just want to read the books that everyone else in your field is reading. You want to go find some obscure material, find authors from different lanes that you're not used to kind of combine and have, more that you can add to your mind, to the adjacent possible, that the doors of creativity that open in your mind when you connect various sources. So reading widely has been a huge thing for me. And then over time, just the combination of the sources you read, the lived experiences that you have, and then the literal practice that you do with your writing, that's how you're going to combine your voice, right? Because when we're on, those are the things you're going to combine to build your voice. Because when you're on places like Medium, all of the subjects that are being covered have been covered by everyone already. All the subjects that you can write about have been covered by millions of other people before you even showed up. So what can you do to stand out? You can combine ideas from the things that you've both read and the things you've experienced in your life to come up with something unique. When it comes to your personal experiences, I talk a lot about not making your stories all about yourself, but the one thing that nobody can copy is being you, right? So if you read my blog posts, often you'll hear stories about when I dropped out of college, or stories about when I went to jail, or stories about when I was selling drugs, stories about when I was really lazy, all these different things that kind of contribute to my experiences and that I can kind of inject into my writing. So writing a lot and then learning how to properly inject your personality is going to help you create a unique voice. Another thing that you need to understand when you're creating your unique voice, you gotta find your angle. You gotta find your unique kind of proposition. You gotta figure out what is it about you or your worldview or the way that you see things that's gonna make you stand out and make you a little different, right? So for me, take the subject I write about is self-improvement. So just through my life experiences, reading through different things, and kind of forming opinions about the world, I came up with this philosophy that, a lot of the things that I saw in the self-improvement industry were BS and kind of fluffy messages that weren't really helping people. And then I'd look at a lot of other writers and I'd see what they were writing about self-improvement, but they kind of had this unwillingness to go all the way there and say the blunt truth about what it takes. So I decided that was going to be my angle, but that took me years to get to that point. That took me seeing all different styles to get to the point where I understood what I could juxtapose myself against. So with all that stuff being said, the main way that you're gonna find your voice is by writing a lot, and especially now you're gonna have to write even more than you were. Maybe you're gonna have to write more than someone on Medium would have had to write a couple years ago. It is what it is. But if you can find your unique voice, you can stand out against the competition on Medium and still be very, very successful. The second thing that is critically important to focus on more than it ever has been is making sure that you are writing headlines that people want to click. There's a sea of articles on Medium right now, and if you want anyone to read your content, you're going to have to write something super compelling. And one strategy that I use pretty much every single day is I make it a point to go on Medium and I read and analyze a lot of the different headlines that I see, and I kind of give you a glimpse I kind of give myself a glimpse into the thought process of other writers and the way that they're coming up with their headlines, and I try to reverse engineer the things that work well and then figure out what I can do differently. So headlines are something that's very, very, very tricky for a lot of writers, especially newer writers. So when it comes to your headlines, as I've mentioned in pretty much every video, the main way you're going to get better at your headlines is practicing them. But another thing that you can do is when you're going through and you're looking on Medium and you're seeing other headlines, look at the ones that are popular and don't just look at them and say, oh, they're popular. Break down why you might think those articles are popular. So maybe an exercise for you to do after watching this video, find 3 to 5 articles that are doing really well on Medium, that have a lot of claps, that are on the trending list, that are showing up on the homepage, different things like that are in your daily digest, and write down 3 reasons why you think the headline works well. Write down some reasons why you may feel compelled to click the post or why you may not have felt compelled to click the post, so that you kind of get a little bit of an analysis. In my Medium program, I actually go through and I continually go through and look at different headlines examples on Medium, and then I explain why they're working well, why they're getting clicked on, why they're very popular, and I go really in depth into that analysis. Too much for a video of this length, but make sure that you are actively looking at headlines and seeing what works with them. And then I actually have some other videos describing what makes a good headline, so I'll link to those as well. But you want to become really a student of headlines, and you want to write them every single day. Every single day you should be coming up with new ideas, and it's just something that you have to train like a muscle. So first point was figuring out how to make your unique voice, and the second point is learning how to write stellar, top-notch headline. And the last thing that you can do to be successful and stand out on Medium is to work with, try a variety of different styles of blog posts and continue to experiment to see what works. So there's a lot of different styles of blog posts that you can write. And when you're a beginning writer, when you're an aspiring writer, you want to focus primarily on getting some traction and just making sure you're writing, period. But over time, you're going to want to learn how to write all different sorts of styles to keep things fresh so that you're always not kind of writing the same content. So, there's the listicle, that's the classic. There are how-to posts. There are essays. There are personal essays. There are case studies that you can write. There are biographical profiles that you can write. There are satirical posts that you can write. You can write really short posts. You can write really long posts. You can write posts that use different structures. Like one thing that I'll do when I'm on Medium is I'll watch and I'll see little different structures and ways people are doing things and just kind of notice the patterns over time. A couple patterns I've noticed on Medium is, a lot of people are, adding these final thoughts sections where they'll use a subheading final thoughts, and they'll break down everything they just wrote. So if they had a listicle that has 5 points on it, they'll have final thoughts, and they'll be like, okay, to recap, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my thoughts on them. Not saying it's something that you would necessarily copy, but it's just something that I've noticed. I've noticed things where, people, they might write a list with 7 different points, and then underneath, after they explain point number 1, they'll have a little section like, here's how to implement it. And then they'll go do their little list under there. I'll notice the way, I go so far as to notice the way people, the structure, the length of their paragraphs, where they place images, the type of images they use. I look at all the different stylistic elements, from the type of blog post that someone's writing to the way that they literally use kind of the user interface on Medium to structure their articles. So just in general, if you're not spending X amount of time every single day on Medium looking for patterns to see what works, again, not to ever plagiarize someone, but to always, you can take bits and pieces of the things that you see around you and put them together to make something that's unique. And, to be honest, even with all these points being put together, 99% of you who usually watch these type of videos are in the same boat. You just don't write anything whatsoever. And, for those of you who are worried about competition on Medium, just know that the competition is going to continue to get steeper. It's not as if you're waiting to get on Medium is going to make it easier for you to be successful on Medium. And like I've said in other videos, there has been fluctuations in views, but I'm still making a great living on Medium. I still know a bunch of other people who are making a really good living on Medium. It's still an excellent tool to build your writing business as a whole. So you need to get out there now. You need to start writing, and you need to do some of the things that I mentioned in this video so that you can stand out. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you look in the description below. You're going to see a bunch of useful resources, including a free 5-day Medium course that's going to walk you through the nuts and bolts of what it takes to be successful. You'll also see links to my flagship program that'll teach you how to make a living on Medium and use it to build your business. A bunch of other links down there that you should check out, different resources on building your blog. Make sure that you watch some other videos on the channel. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.